is Ryan Bess, and I will be presenting my web quest on the Gold Rush. During this web quest, students will demonstrate their knowledge of the California Gold Rush by describing the effects on California politically and socially, the economy, and the effects of migration and immigration to California. This web quest is intended for grades 3 through 5. Really, I wanted it based on 4th grade, and the curriculum is on social studies and history. So I will go ahead and get it started. Today, gold is valued at about $1,100 per troy ounce, so very, very valuable, and that number does fluctuate too, just like the stock market. So that right there in itself is what attracted mass numbers of people to California in the late 1840s. So I'd introduce the gold rush to kids in that instance, just to kind of catch their attention, to show them how much gold is actually worth. And the California Gold Rush was the cause for one of the biggest migrations in history. Around 300,000 gold seekers migrated to California from Europe, Asia, South America, and Australia. Those who came risked their families, homes, jobs, and their lives. The majority were men, and they sold their homes, spent their life savings, and even borrowed money to make the voyage to California. So a lot of these people really gave up everything and uprooted themselves from their family and their jobs and the position that they had to reap that risk and reward factor there, which was a big time risk. Many that came to California left empty-handed, but for those who hit the mother lode were either very skilled with extracting gold or were very lucky. The gold rush also impacted the United States economically and politically. California officially became a U.S. state during the gold rush, and a lot of money went into boom towns, which these were the towns that experienced high surges of money because of the miners buying picks and boots and supplies and things to mine gold. So those towns really reaped the benefits of 300,000 plus people migrating to one area of California. So how would you like to discover what it was like during the California Gold Rush? This lesson will allow you to explore what it would take to prepare for a migration to California, as well as see how California started out. And so for the task, I just wanted to create like a scenario that way the students could really envision their self being in a position during that time in 1849, during that high peak gold rush period, to just really kind of try to relate what they would do if they were someone living, in the United States during that time. So the scenario is you are a shopkeeper in Boise, Idaho in 1849. Your shop has been struggling financially and you must find a way to continue providing for your family. The word around town is that people are striking it rich in California by discovering gold. It's all over the newspaper as well. Your father-in-law has decided to go to California and has 2 healthy horses, a sturdy wagon, and enough supplies to last for the trip. Since the shop is struggling and your family would take care of it while you're gone, you decide to go. Describing detailed plans for the trip to California, as well as what to expect when you arrive in California. Also, the Boise newspaper has asked you to take notes of the economic, social, and political status of California when you arrive. They want you to report back your findings, and they will reward you if enough evidence is given of the effects of the gold rush, that the effects of the gold rush is having on California. Use supporting facts found through research. So I want the students to also envision what it was like to prepare for such a trip, to kind of see everything that they need to prep for as far as food and the horses, the wagon, as far as setting that all up to actually make the trip. Because a lot of people did make long trips from other continents, so distance, but still a long trip, kind of puts perspective on life during this time. So for the task, the students will have the option of creating a multimedia presentation, either a PowerPoint or video, a performance, or write a paper on describing a fictional trip to California and explaining what California is like in 1849. So for the trip, students will need to explain what they will need for the trip, what route they will take, and how long they estimate the trip to be. So all of this will be done by these 3 websites, and what they really are good overviews. Like this one is from the History Channel, and I like this site because it starts you off with a video that they can watch instead of just only reading. But there is good informative information. I didn't want it to be too dense with information because they are 4th graders, but there is good stuff in here. And then this site here gives you a little history as well as this one here. And then also I wanted to show this map here. This could be a reference of a map that they use to actually plan their trip, which this map is of the United States and the routes to California during that time. So for Boise, they can track the route that they would take and estimate the time that it would take to get there. And for the process, students will identify routes to gold-rich areas in California from Boise, Idaho, determine supplies needed for the trip, so how much and for how long and what types, describe the social status of California in 1849 and the political status as well as economic status of California. And then they do have an option. I wanted to give students the option of creating either a multimedia presentation or a paper. So these are the requirements here for the presentation. So be a PowerPoint or a video. PowerPoint 8 to 10 slides with the information from research, or the video needs to be at least 5 minutes. And then the paper, 1 to 2 pages, typed or handwritten, and then also proofread. So as long as they're getting the information about the gold rush and preparing for the trip itself, it's more of the essence versus, how they actually present it. And for evaluation, thought I'd use this rubric by either grading them by proficient, good, satisfactory, needs review. So really, just like any standard rubric, they are going to earn, either proficient or good or satisfactory, needs review based on the work that they submit. So they're submitting work that is, lacking some information, or more research could have been done, then yes, they will earn that grade, and then they will also need to be shown this rubric beforehand, so that way they know the requirements of the grade that they feel like receiving. So if you just want to get a good grade, then meet all this criteria right here on the green. If you want proficient, then everything right here should be met. And then to conclude, I would just wrap up by saying that you have planned a trip to California and observed the social, political, and economic status during the gold rush. And this web quest will serve you well as a great tool of very informative data and research about the gold rush in California. The skills that you acquired during this assignment will serve all of you well for the upcoming adventures. And then I would either introduce a new topic as a closing tool, or get them kind of thinking about what is coming up next. And then for my teacher page, show the standards I met, Common Core standards, so 4.3, 4.4, and then the references for the sites that the students will use as their resource. So that is my WebQuest. Thank you guys.